In this example, the data source for the number of facilities metric is the Health Facility Master List for the fictional country X. The HFML is just one common data source for the number of facilities metric. Other common data sources include the Service Provision Assessment, or SPA, and the Service Availability and Readiness Assessment, or SARA. Here, in this example, the Health Facility Master List contains all formal health facilities within the public and private sectors, including those with TB services and those without TB services. We can verify that this HFML indeed meets the raw data requirement. Each line corresponds to a unique health facility. For example, Facility 92339 is a public reference hospital in an urban area within the Region A. Scrolling down, we can see that the Health Facility Master List contains 5,026 health facilities, recalling that the first line of the file contains the column heading. This last health facility, number 60390, is an administrative office in an urban area within the Region E, classified as private sector. We see that this is a CSV file, and I can report that it has been saved with UTF-8 encoding. We see that the file includes the columns we need, facility type and health sector. Note that this data source has its own column names, as all data sources do, and that is perfectly fine. Here, instead of sector, the column name is ownership classification, and instead of facility type, the column name is FAC type classification. This is fine as it is, and we don't need to change it. What matters is that the file contains the data for these variables. This Health Facility Master List also includes columns for location type and region. And this region column is necessary for our regional PPA. The location type column would also be necessary if we wanted a PPA disaggregated by urban and rural. Returning to the PPA data cheat sheet, we note that this Health Facility Master List meets all the requirements for the metric number of facilities. We have just verified that the Health Facility Master List contains all the data we need to create this column, number of facilities. But before we move on to look at our remaining data sources, let's quickly think about some alternative situations we could encounter. Sometimes the data source for the number of facilities metric also fulfills the requirements for one or more of the service availability metrics. This may be true if you are using a service provision assessment or a service availability and readiness assessment. Occasionally, a health facility master list will also include this information. Imagine our health facility master list had a microscopy column like this, indicating the availability with yes or no values. Or imagine it had a similar column indicating the presence of TB diagnostic services. If this were the case, we could reuse this data source for the Diagnostic 1 metric, which in our case is microscopy. Similarly, if it had a column for TB treatment, we could reuse it for the Treatment 1 metric, which in our case is first-line treatment. If the Health Facility Master List included both of these columns, then we would not need any additional data sources on health facilities to complete the PPA. We would need only a data source for care seeking. Unfortunately, however, the Health Facility Master List does not include these columns. So we will need to use separate data sources for our diagnosis and treatment metrics. Let's take a look at those service availability metrics now.